Welcome back, everybody, to week number 10 as we complete the first season of Split 1. It's been a fantastic situation. And I mean, really, Rusty, after that performance there, Avant Gravitas, the stakes were set, the occasion was met, and Avant secured themselves with that fifth and final spot.
Yeah, AV, they make it easy for themselves. They win the game that they are, in fact, in control of, which means that Gravitas don't have the opportunity to go up against the Chiefs, take them down to be able to take Avant's spot into playoffs. And just before we get any further into some discussions here, Skibby, I think we should just make it known that, one, Sport's internet is still working. He is just working with his team right now as Order plays in this next game. And two, Nick still isn't here, but we're trying to get him here as fast as we possibly can because we all know that Nick Boy is the most important person to have on screen during
he carries
this,
the show.
Exactly.
Nick,
during this moment, it's not the same. Like, we can't have as much fun as we can if Nick is here. So we're trying to get him back as fast as we can.
Absolutely. And we will mourn his loss. I wish I had a lighter because I would light it up right now and we could have a little candle ceremony in the chat. But that aside, memes aside, there's obviously still many more games to go today. 5 more games of action coming your way, with the next one being Order taking on Mammoth, and we'll jump into that champion select when it is ready. But I suppose the narrative changes a little bit now, doesn't it, Rusty, with the fact that with everybody being secured, we may now see Comforts, Fiestas, or even just perhaps still Standard.
Yeah, we don't know what we're going to see just yet. Yesterday, the games didn't mean anything for Mammoth, but we did see them take each game very seriously that they are playing in, and I think that's totally fair. There is validity in just being a very serious team through because you're looking to improve, and stage experience, or online, but in Pro League experience now, is the best experience that you will get. So, total credit to them. There's definitely merit in taking it seriously. Order, they are locked now. Their positioning is locked, so what they'll do is entirely up for debate. Yep. They're a type of team that will have some fun. I know yesterday we saw some TFT 5 gold cost units.
We did, yes.
Running around, and somehow they made it look like a viable composition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, Order's one of those teams that may just... I think that they'll dabble in the fun basket, not go all in.
Depends to see what Coach Spawn has prepared. I suppose, really, one thing I want to bring up, I saw a lot of discussion after LEC had completed about people talking the differences between online and stage performances, and I suppose that is going to be a rather relevant narrative for the most part for such a long time now, not only for us but for everybody else. We sort of discussed, does it have an effect? Will teams look at this as a comfort factor, be it, they're better in scrims, to say the least. Do you think that we have seen anything that's really shown any major changes? I mean, we had the very first week games were incredibly slow and a lot more methodical, but this week it seems to almost reverted back to times of old.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in that point, actually, Skimmy. One of them is that, if you cast your mind back to almost every interview that we did during this split with the coach of Penn State Western Way, he said they were a scrim win team.
Yeah.
And I think first of all, it's crazy that we didn't actually get to see that replicated for them in stage games now.
Yeah.
Once it became an online format. So, that's one side of the coin, right? The other one for me is, Legacy seemed like a whole new dominant force. The games that we actually saw from them were very decent. They never looked out like losing. They never looked like dropping anything. Mm-hmm. They were just styling over their opponents. So it seems like, in all honesty, they got the online buff, where Pentanet did not. And I think, the rest of the teams are up for debate. Order seemed decent. Playing from Melbourne, maybe there's something in the coffee down there that we don't know about that is helping them out so far. But realistically, it's only one game of it. So we'll have to see how they continue to go.
We will, and we'll watch very eagerly to see how these teams get themselves prepared going into not only playoffs, but also just to close out this season, close out their performances, and give the viewers something to enjoy. I saw a lot of you in chat beforehand giving a lot of love to Violet, obviously making such a standout performance there on that Callista.
Definitely.
Really hurt me though, Rusty. It really did, the fact that that pentakill was denied from him.
Yeah, but hey, he's still got a quadra. He's still looking good. We've actually had no pentakills in the OPL this split. That would have been the first one if he was able to get that one. But yes, it was denied. It's saying that Violet playing well, once again working with Guncrab decently to be a duo. And, Appy seems to just... is a chameleon, man.
He's
able to
slotting
just
in
go
beautifully.
to different roles. Yeah.
Well, we're going to jump ourselves into Champion Select. The next game coming up will be Order taking on Mammoth.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple. or Pineberry Frozen Fanta Mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.
It is our second game of the day. Order taking on Mammoth. The stakes a little bit more relaxed than it would have been coming into this one, but week 10 is in with a close, and now we get to see really the mentality, the ideas behind what these teams want to play. Fiestas, fun, standard, you name it. We might just see a glimpse of it.
Yeah, I expect that, like mentioned before, we should see pretty serious from Mammoth in terms of gameplay. Order are the real enigma here. We're not sure where exactly they'll go. Spawn is with them, still coaching them through this draft, so I think that makes it pretty clear to me that he'll at least give them something moderately serious. You know, they are coming into playoffs, and I think that being, you know, the first team to play in playoffs, last chance to be playing on stage today, you probably do want to hit the ground running, build some momentum up for that first best of series. So Order should be pretty serious here, to be perfectly honest with you.
Absolutely. Now let's see exactly how they decide to go into this draft. They are once again going to respect the Mboma Heimerdinger, a pick he busted out a couple of weeks ago and found great success when he coupled it with the Blitzcrank, definitely throwing a wrench in the works to keep teams guessing. You're going to see the Echo Ban as well, which has found a lot of love between the likes of Bass and Lived, flexing it between jungle and mid. And the set, well, it's set. What else is needed to be said on that topic?
Yeah, it was a strong champion, and it is actually a decent champion into things like Wukong, which makes picking those champions pretty difficult, but I don't know if Order will go straight towards that one just yet. However, when you look at the 6 bans that we have so far, it's just a decent amount of target bans, realistically, from Order, wanting to take the individual strengths away from Mammoth, force them into something perhaps more standard, or just get rid of what is their best individual champions. You know, Baz is a nuts, Echo. When he doesn't have that, he doesn't seem as capable of 1v9ing a game.
Yeah, he's definitely been reverting to the likes of Oriana's control mages. We've seen glimpses of him go Kiana's, Silas, to name the least. Baz going to go for the Jarvan here, so some reliable engage to follow things up with. Now the question is, having the Ornn band away, will we see a priority towards a blind pick Renekton? We're not going to at this stage. They really want to make sure that their misfortune is not denied in that second ban phase. And they're going to show both AD carries in this initial draft.
Yeah, get that misfortune in the first 3. They're actually going to hide their support champion probably until the 3rd pick. And I like that a lot, given that Aphelios is very obviously already there on the opposing side. Now for Order, they could continue to go for a jungler early if they would like, with their support, whatever that may be. This is one of those games where you haven't seen the rest of the comp, but you could consider something like a Karthus just because of your jungle matchup, and then just draft later for some winning lanes to control the jungle and let Only do his thing, be a very good tempo jungler. But at the same time, as you can see the lock-in now from them, Spawn's already been outspoken about this as well. Tank junglers, he thinks very much back, and I mean, that's going to be evidenced through his team's drafting.
Absolutely. The Sejuani will give them a lot of engage potential, the ability to reposition themselves in the fresh as they complete a bottom lane. Obviously the skill matchup to win in the bottom side, but also to deny with a well-timed flare or a death sentence to prevent the initiation that may come out from Mammoth, who are looking to respond and meet that challenge by going for the Leona.
Yeah, Leona's a very aggressive pick. I'm a big fan of it. The matchup against Thresh is an interesting one because from levels 1 to 5, the Thresh pretty much denies you completely. There's no opportunity to get in there. There's no opportunity to dash because he'll just flay you away and you reset. You often find yourself just losing trades a little bit there. But once you hit 6, your kill threat just exponentially it skyrockets. You know, you don't have to get flayed out. You can hit the ultimate. You can throw your ultimate off cooldown. And now you've got an extra source of engage here if you are Mammoth. So realistically, you look at what they've got, they can just round their comp out with some damage. This is the potential for something like a Fiora composition here from Mammoth as well for Kwaku.
Yeah.
Something that can split push, maybe a strong 1-4 comp is what we'll see.
Well, they've gone for the Kled ban. That's a direct ban takeaway from Swiper, who's definitely a big advocate of the pick. Interesting to see where he goes, because he's flexed in multiple different regards recently, most notably going for the Rumble as opposed to the traditional tanks in the past. I wonder if Order are scared of the Rumble here, if they want to deny it away from what Mammoth are currently hovering. So far they've gone for the Syndra, so denying some control mages, and the Aurelia response also, as they don't want any more hard initiation.
Yeah, they're getting rid of a lot of bruisers that have gap closers, so perhaps another immobile carry to be seen in the mid lane, you know, something like an Oriana, perhaps, to round out that Jarvan in the composition.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly we will see just yet, as Order respond by banning away one of the few bruisers that are still available for Kwaku to pick. So maybe trying to force him onto a tank, and then overload the composition with too many tanks and not enough damage. We'll see though. We'll see where Mammoth can go, because the options are still there for that 1-4 split push.
Definitely a lot of options, as you highlight, and we've seen him go for the Poppy, we've seen him go for the Fiora, which you mentioned as well. So whether or not he's just going to go in with that, or if we're going to see Lived stick to that flex. He's played Silas before, and he's going to stick to it again. So we're going to see Kwaku hold his counter pick for that matchup. Now, game on for Order. How do they wish to round out this composition? Solid engage, a lot of damage in the backline there with the Aphelios. And after everything that Spawn has said, surely they don't go for the Wukong.
I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. Not going to be the time nor the place, so this is something that I've been speaking about all splits, Gibby, so it's very nice to finally see it locked in. Hayri gets his infamous Yasuo, something that he is very proficient on, and it's exciting to see him get this opportunity to play it, because he is terrifying compared to many other Yasuos of the world when he actually gets this pick. It's with a Sejuani as well, so they are well and truly prepared to make things happen.
I'm very excited for this draft here. I love what Order have brought together as they finalize it with a Maokai. A lot of damage, a lot of initiation potential, with abilities to lock Mammoth in place. Now, what do they respond with? That is the question. We've highlighted what Kwaku may have in his arsenal. He may have other things in that roster.
Oh, that'd be great.
He may look for some angry solo queue like Swipe has done in the past and go for the Alawi.
Yeah, it's the really angry option here into the Maokai. Which actually a pretty decent matchup for Kwaku, but the reason that's so funny is because that's Swiper's go-to pick.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of his champions, and now you've just challenged him. You're basically challenging the title against the champ. I mean, that's a big statement to throw down if you are Kwaku, so get it done, bud, because Swiper's going to come at you swinging.
He's going to be no stranger to the danger that that pick does present, but I think everything has to be about this Yasuo right now. The fact is, Harry has been really impressive in most recent weeks, finding consistent results, especially on the Azir. I hate to see when he's on that pick, because he just makes things happen. And if you hype up this Yasuo, well, I look forward to seeing what kind of output that can bring to the table too.
Yeah, one of the things that Order's comp does have, though, is a pretty limited amount of magic damage, and there are a couple of tanks there on Mammoth's side of the court, so realistically there is kind of like a time limit to this. If they don't get ahead by a certain point in the game, their damage could suffer. They do still have a Maokai and a Sejuani for some base magic damage, and they also have, you know, like a Yasuo ultimate being a 50% armor shred when he casts it, so they'll still be decent. Their 1 to 2 item spikes will be massive. Order, I would say, still with a pretty well-rounded composition for a lot of early skirmishes. And so only on the Sejuani, definitely going to be one of the players that we have to look for.
I'm excited to see how Only actually navigates this game to get these boys online. And you highlighted before about the strength that the Fresh will have levels 1 through 5 to really counteract what the Leone can do. I suppose, like most games, we always highlight the junglers and their influence, because it has been so apparent, especially in the OPL, as to how it can get their team and those laners online. What do you really think Mammoth, their idea is going to be? Obviously, Alawi, incredibly strong at the 1v1. We've sort of highlighted in the past, maybe not the strongest team fighter. Is Kwaku going to be left on an island, do you think?
Oh, the thing with Alawi is she's actually maybe the strongest team fighter if they're coming towards you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she's actually incredibly weak and gets hard countered by people just walking away. So, will we see team fighting from Mammoth in response to Order? I think the answer is definitely. How do they want to play this, though? I do think that they want to primarily be in that 1-4 that we highlighted. They also have the possibility of a 1-3-1 setup. They have the teleport on Lived in mid lane on this Silas, and he can steal some pretty crucial ults away from his opposing team. So, I mean, it's hard to say exactly how Mammoth will play this one out until we start seeing it in-game, but some early kills will definitely influence the way that both of these teams want to play this out.
Well, let's crack on into it, eh? It's the second game of the day. It's week 10, day 2. Order are taking on Mammoth here. Comfort picks are online. Fan favorites are there too. We get to see exactly how these two teams close out the split.
Yeah, definitely. Now we're just waiting for those jungle starts, see where people will go. We really haven't, this whole split, seen too many level 1 plays or engages. Not even really deep vision being placed. As once again, when you look at Mammoth, it was an early swap to the sweeper here for both junglers after an early ward was placed, and that's the most activity that we're going to have until Ayla steps up and just chads his way through the blue side jungle, but nothing doing.
It's a man on a mission, and the mission is successful, makes the members of Mammoth go away, and Rare can get a deep vision ward down onto the enemy blue. So you can have eyes in the sky to understand where the jungler is, with Bass on your screen now starting red. So most likely pathing bot side to maybe try and patch up that weakness that you've highlighted here in the bot lane.
Yeah, and it's also still a high kill threat lane, but at the same time, there might be merit in trying to focus top lane. You know, getting Alawi a single kill or snowballing that lane out by any means just accelerates it rapidly. Alawi with lane control is terrifying. She can step past the minions to try and hit you with that test of will and just annihilate your health bar while you're not even near her. So that's one of the things, and like realistically both teams, and this is why we highlighted junglers early into the draft, is wherever they gank, it's a pretty high impact lane. You know, Sejuani Yasuo is a nasty 2v2 combo. If you gank mid lane, definitely going to hit Sejuani's stuns. And then at 6, it's even more dangerous. Top lane, if you get the Maokai ahead against the Alawi, Alawi's a pretty useless champion. So there is a whole lot of things to consider here. And so that's why you should always look at the minimap from now on. Look at those junglers and see if they're able to gank somewhere.
Well, as is the red buff start, they are now pathing towards the bot side, and that ward will catch them out. So Order will know exactly where the Jarvan is. And they will be, despite having priority in the lane, be able to understand really how they want to play things out. But it's going to be interesting to understand how they look to try and make things happen, because we've seen in recent times either one or the other, right? Level 3 engagers get a lot of kills and a lot of quiet nature until, say, 15 minutes, or the absolute opposite, and it's just complete chaos and 20-minute finishes.
Yeah, I have a feeling we might be going towards the 20-minute finish direction for this one, perhaps. Skibby, we'll see if it starts off the aggression. That first step is really what it'll take in a game like this as well to set it off. And when things are in motion, hard chance to slow it down in a game like this.
Well, Order are going to push this bot wave in and get a lot of damage as well as the hook and the flay connect.
Yeah.
That just allows Rare to output so much damage with his arsenal of weapons.
Very aggressive stuff from the bottom lane of Order. They know that their jungler is coming towards bot side, but what they actually saw, and most importantly, was the Jarvan moving to the top side of the map through the wards they placed at level 1. So top scuttle, 100% they know he's going to be up there, even if they cannot directly see him. And so they're able to play as aggressively as they currently are in that bot lane 2v2. And you can see it's starting to reap some rewards, even though it was just a nice health trade and they've got the potions to stay in this lane. Artek now no longer has any potions remaining. Compare that to the 2 of Ayla, and it means that you can afford to take even trades from this point onwards.
Oh, Ayla went fishing, wasn't able to find a target, however. Really wanting to abuse the fact of no sustain, as you highlight. There was the cleanse available, obviously, on the Misfortune, and that's what I imagine they were looking to try and take out there. Make it a little bit easier to contest the likes of a Dragon at spawning in just under 30 seconds.
Yeah, and getting rid of that cleanse also means that the Sejuani gets a free gank attempt off down in there as well. You know, just having a bit of extra CC, the Thresh Hook would guarantee the kills. The Flash Flay would also guarantee it. They're knowing there's no cleanse, so you can follow it up nicely. But they're not going to get that one just yet. They were still fishing, and I think they will continue to fish once they know where the Jarvan is, who, once again, he's gone missing, presumably on this side of the map.
Absolutely. He's at Grump right now, so he's in the area if you were to threaten a gank. Getting closer to that level 6 mark here in the bottom lane. And that's where the script can potentially change, where we might see the Leona get a little bit more aggressive, sitting very defensively back, waiting for the passive health regen and using that minion dematerializer to, just get some free gold towards those cannons.
And if you look towards mid lane, as you don't get a chance, actually, we're fighting bottom.
You don't. The cleanse goes out instantly. The response is there. Exhaust onto Aphelios, but the damage to follow. They're not going to have the root just yet. Rare's holding it on for a very long time, but Artek completely bodied out of this lane. Going to be forced to recall now for sure. And they find priority as Bass now turns his attention to the mid lane. Sweeper on, flag and drag, flash! Everything going out there as Harry responds. He goes for the ultimate, Ignite gets used. Someone is burnt for very little impact here.
Yeah, now only looking mid.
Only actually turning up to the fight as well. He wants to get the kill, the ultimate to secure it, but nobody can jump on in. They flash flame, make it happen. Ayla gets involved. He picks up an assist, and now we have a first blood onto Yasuo.
Yeah, fantastic response there from Order. It was actually an overforce and a half from Mammoth, using their flashes forwards. And also note, during that trade, just prior when we watched the bottom lane 2v2, Rare very aggressively uses his cleanse to get rid of an exhaust. But they forced Artek out of lane, and now they're forced to teleport in bot lane, as they should just disengage.
Yep, they're going to be able to just knock themselves back into the river and say thank you very much, they're lived. Thanks for using your teleport. Now they can pick themselves up a scuttle, knowing that both AD carries do not have their cleanses. Much easier now for both junglers to find those gank attempts.
And I've really been enjoying watching Order this week just play League of Legends, as once again, lived in a whole lot of trouble, will be okay and will survive compliments of that W heal. But the way that Order are playing League of Legends, the reason I'm enjoying it so much is they're punishing small mistakes pretty hard, which is, you know, something that's a very delicate thing to be confident in doing. And when they get the tempo advantage, even if it is a small amount, you know, it was a 1 camp advantage yesterday against Pentanet.gg. They were able to snowball off just tempo alone to get a massive gold lead. So playing very good League of Legends right now, and you would say coming into playoffs in good form.
Once again, only has the ultimate, and he has your number. He's coming for the kill. Harry dashes to a minion, and he executes cleanly. 2-0, making this pick. Fine work.
And this all starts from a Jarvan ganking mid, so keep that in mind. Now it's a 0-2-0 Sylas. He uses his flash to try and get a kill, and it was an overreach, and suddenly he's the one being counter-ganked, and now the initiative is there as once again bottom.
They know no chill. And what else do you expect from this man in the bottom lane right now? Going for a 1v2 with Ayla looking for a dive in Tribush. Bullet time will prevent a lot of that. And the 4-man collapse for a second time will not go down.
Yeah, not just Ayla. There was 4 people in that bottom lane, but a fantastic ultimate from Mboma makes sure they can't even get to it. It was just the minions that they were waiting on. If Rare was able to push that one in, then the gank was on. Nevertheless, they're not able to find what they're after. They are forced to disengage, but still, it's a 2-0 Yasuo in mid lane with a 24 CS lead right now, and that's a win condition.
100%. Massive win in mid, massive win in bottom lane as well. Swiper has been taking the rough end of the stick here, as he is heavily down in the 1v1 matchup against the Alawi, but that's what you highlighted, right? When the Alawi can just sit themselves on an island, set up with the tentacles, the 1v1 potential was unreal.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been isolated, so there's not a lot more that you can expect to be done here from Swiper. He's just going to have to hold on. He has got... Oh, hang on. They may want to fight.
They may indeed. Only jumps in. Once again, Ayla is on point with the hook. Bass forced to disengage away. He manages to pick up that Rift Herald. They do have to sacrifice a member for that one, and that will hopefully give now Swiper a bit of reprieve to free farm lane.
And Kwaku had flash there, so it seems like he was just caught with his pants down, you know, 1 step outside of the pit, so 1 step away from safety, and they do ultimately take him down, and it is a trade from Order. But the objective belongs to Mammoth. An opportunity now presents itself for Bass to get to a lane and look to summon that one for some turret plates, some much-needed gold when you consider the difference between these teams 9 minutes in.
Harry working his way towards that first important item. That's when it gets scary. You can see the critical strike already coming into effect there. Once he hits the 100 mark, it's, well, it's game over at that point. So we look forward to seeing how that one progresses, but only will turn his attention now, finding so much love in this bottom and mid part of the map. He will get the first dragon underway. Now they can turn their attention towards bot side to even up the score and really bully out Liv here. He's not a good game so far, 0-2, and that's soon to be 0-3. He gets a little bit of life leech, and he makes me eat my words. And now he can disengage away for 3.
And there goes Rare. Once again finds himself caught, this time on the other side of the map. And this is also coinciding with the Herald that belongs to Mammoth. That's going to be the first turret, I believe, of the game. Just freely secured here from Mammoth. Kwaku may be getting majority of this gold as well as Artek chooses to leave. And it is shared, actually, between all 3 of them. 2 plates left on the bottom lane outer turret of Mammoth, so they just comprehensively win that trade. Very nicely done from them, but it makes you wonder, once again, you know the play's happening bottom lane. So how is it that Rare got caught?
It's a very good question, and it is one that Mammoth won't really care about at this stage, as they managed to even the gold economy just a little bit more in their favor, despite being down in the CS and relying heavily on Kwaku to win that 1v1. But let's actually see how the 3-man collapse goes down.
Yeah, the answer is he's pushing top lane, so Bass just comes up here, is able to pretty easily secure him as well. Nice stun there from Artek actually to catch him on the lantern, closer than you would have liked to safety. Was that a Philios? But that's because his cleanse is on such a low cooldown. Nevertheless, they get the kill, they get the turret, they get some gold back in their pockets, they bring it down to 700 between both respective teams. It's just one of those, you know, a bridge too far here. You know your team's making a play on the opposite side of the map. Where else could they be?
Maybe not respecting their opponents too much, or just finding that the lane dominance to be a factor of we don't believe they would make this play. Regardless, Order still well and truly in the driving seat with a 1k advantage to their name. Always hovering mid, always threatening to make plays. As only always making his presence well known.
He's been very active, and this once again, you know, when you've got so many lanes that are easy to gank for, this is what you would want to see from a tank jungler on this Sejuani. You know, throwing his ultimate almost off cooldown, trying to make plays. He's working in tandem with Ayla at the moment, and the 2 lanes that he can go towards are still very dangerous. The Yasuo and the Maokai.
Big vision denial in the bottom lane, and that will just only be compounded further. As third time the try is where they want to go towards. They realise now that there's no wave to crash it in. Far too long to wait for the next one to come across. Let's now turn our attention towards mid lane.
Oh,
that is a flash. That's a cleanse.
Oh,
and that's someone's burn for an ultimate.
A flash ultimate for just the cleanse. It's not as worth it as just throwing an ult for the cleanse, obviously, but that does still put Mboma's life in danger for the next time that Sejuani ultimate is available. It also means things like the Thresh Hook guarantee kills once again. So it's an okay transaction there from Only, but having no flash could be something that comes back to hurt.
It's buying Harry a lot of time in his bottom lane now, making that CS lead 50. Incredible lead over his opponent right now, and a lot of gold towards that turret as the plates soon to fall in 45 seconds. Looking for a recall, looking for that first completed Zeal item.
I mean, let's call it how it is, Skibby. It's an absolute nightmare to be lived on Summoner's Rift in this game. The way that Order have been positioning, they'll get mid-priority, and then they'll play towards Heiri's Yasuo. It's just rinse and repeat. And if you're the Silas, you're watching him push the wave towards you, you're waiting to collect it, and suddenly there's 4 people down there sitting in the tri-bush on repeat. You can't catch it. So he's being completely starved out, and you know, this is Order's doing for sure. It's not him just missing minions. He has no choice. And Mammoth have really struggled to actually give him any assigned lane that is safe, because they still need to give farm to the Misfortune. And the way that Kwaku has to exist in this game is an important role that has to continue to farm.
I wonder how Liv's role changed in this one. If he then... I mean, we talk about in the past where Mordekaisers will fall behind, but their ultimate will always become relevant. You know, the Death Ram will always be a 7-second stun to deny somebody from a team fight, and whether or not the Silas becomes a CC bot to steal away something that becomes maybe a little bit more desirable for the circumstance. We'll have to wait and see, because right now, incredibly starved and without a chance. Cleanse still being down here for the Misfortune. Team fight's looking real good for Order.
And that's an interesting thing for me when we continue to highlight what happens in this bottom lane, is, you know, people will look at this at the end of the day and be like, wow, Heiri just so much better than Lived, or, you know, Hard wins the 1v1. He probably does now, but you have to consider the whole team got him to this point.
Goes for the full combo. Going to drop Liv down to half. Shield is there to negate a lot of that retaliation, and Only, once again, always hovering, always in the right place to assist his team and cut off any angles for Mammoth to respond. They will be proactive, however, and they won't fall victim to being run around the map. They're going to go for the second Rift Herald in their bank. And they want to make something happen
the
here.
first Rift Herald was very effective, Skibby, so this second one has the potential once again to help them net another turret, get some extra gold in their pockets again. But it was still the second Drake of the game given over, as that ultimate, unfortunately from Red, does go wide with a nice dodge from the Misfortune. Mid lane outer turret also very close to going down here from just the constant and relentless pressure through the blue side jungle.
Mammoth will have to drop this one. Rare able to pick up a lot of that. As the gold is shed across the members. Vision Denial once again in this bottom section of the map. They've been very active here, understanding their win conditions, definitely leaving the top side on an island. And it's been one that we've talked about from start to finish, 15 minutes into this one, Quaker being so far ahead. But how does that translate?
Yeah, and 30 CS isn't a game-winning amount of difference. Is Malkai still getting to his items? He's still going to be decently well off. Actually wondering where those fairy charms are going right now. And if they're just fairy charms for lane sustain, that's one of the things that you can do with them. They actually are one of the most efficient purchase to then sell items as a standalone. So I wouldn't be too surprised, and he has actually already done that, sold one of them for some control ward slots. To me, that was just about sustaining through the lane. There was a world where it was a redemption, you know, or something really cheesy, but not going to happen this time. He's committed himself to surviving in the lane, and that's a big deal. And to my point, you know, like 30 CS isn't going to ruin Swiper's life. It's not going to win the game for Mammoth. You have to look at the trade on the rest of the map here and say that that's much more dangerous for Mammoth to deal with.
I suppose my question now also here, Rusty, with the game slowly starting to really fall out of their hands, what are Mammoth looking at to achieve? You know, they've got their second Rift Herald, they've broken over top side, they've broken through mid as well. Where do they want to try and execute? Because right now, if they try and match Harry, they cannot find it. As you just see him go for these trades, go for the all-in ignite play, flash, dash across, get the kill, and say night-night.
Yeah, this is going to continue. So what can Mammoth do? They can sack Lived completely. They could say, this is just the way that this is. This is your life for the rest of the game. And even if we help gank, there's actually just a risk that the Yasuo 1v2s, or if they're counter ganking, we're boomed. So play to Kwaku, acknowledge that this is a giant problem, but you can't deal with it right now. As Leona's ulted mid to push them away.
Well, does get a response. There's going to be the cleanse used there. Rare does not want to fall victim to that attempt twice. He's going to disengage away. Ooh, the flash from Bass. Does not want to get caught out by Only as well. So a lot of flash is being used here. A lot of engage attempts being threatened. But what does this mean? With Baron up in 2, and the next Dragon up as well, may not have the biggest impact.
This may not be the fairest analogy to use. We've said this last year, however, for certain teams and certain compositions, but the way that Order are playing this one out is just by flinging poo at their opponents, right? Eventually it's going to connect. Like, that's all that matters. You know, you've got your monkeys at the zoo, they're just aiming for a target. They may not be the most accurate, but if you constantly throw the what'll connect, and, you know, these calculated plays from Order, maybe even a little bit more efficient than those monkeys at the zoo, because they're forcing summoner spells. But one mistake from your opponents is a kill, and that means everything. So just keep throwing them, because nothing's happening in response.
Let's see bot lane. So at that stage where you can quite comfortably clear out the lane. Does have the Bramble Vest, does have the Sunfire too. And will just waddle himself over to these tennies, get up some gold, get up some denial, and keep content as the tank player that he is.
We may find ourselves in a bit of a lull state. That Herald has just been removed completely as that gets summoned in base. So that's probably maybe the last thing on the map that is outstanding as like a must contest. This next Drake in 50 seconds is something that could be considered. I wonder how Mammoth will go though, getting even into the area. With the state of Lived, it's just so hard to actually fight for anything on the map. He's not going to be there, and you know it's a 4v5 because he's so deep inside his own side of the map. So it's obvious to say that the third Drake of the game and an Infernal should be something to fight for, but I'm hard-pressed to give an answer as to, you know, how Mammoth even do it.
I mean, yeah, Lived is so starved of resources right now. He's been sitting on Seeker's arm guards for like, what, 15 minutes. The guy is incredibly down in economy. Look at that, 3,000, nearly 4k gold difference between the mid laners. Harry is having a performance very noteworthy of, and how do they respond? That is the question we keep asking, and we look to see where they look to try and put their eggs into that basket. They've gone all topside. They're going to forgive this dragon again. They're going to give Order that soul point and say, we just need more time, more time. Maybe we can get Azonius now being completed here by Liv. Maybe we can contest a Baron. Maybe we can look and all-in fight for an objective and then see where we're at.
Yeah, my man's lived is on that quarantine diet, Skimmy. He's hit that point, he's like, I'm going to come out of this one looking fit. But then he's realised, he's like, just started his sick keto diet. He's like, I don't have any of the ingredients because I can't leave my house. And so he's just not eating. That's really where he's at the moment. He's so starved out. It's so sad. And, like, he's gone for the Zonias just so he's relevant. Like, he's not going to do too much damage with the Zodia's Rush, but he'll survive for a little bit longer. They've got 3 people here. We'll see how they go.
They're going for a shotgun attempt. Out comes the Tornado to knock members up in place. 4 people collapse. TP comes in. Swiper goes for the response. That's the shutdown now onto the AD carry.
Whole squad's here.
And Boma, with resources to play around with now, does have both summoners and is actually going to disengage in a different direction from the rest of his team. Nice little pickup here, with Mammoth still showing signs of fight.
I think only just cancelled the teleport from Kwaku in mid lane as well, so they do lose their 5th member, you know, more potential damage to be seen, and they do actually get themselves Hayri. So the shutdown goes onto this Yasuo, who's actually able to pick up the kill. Unfortunately, it's not lived, and he is still going to be super far behind, and unfortunately, it's not Kwaku. And Boma will be happy to have a kill on the map right now, still getting towards items, but unfortunately, Artek's picking one up there as well, so they still need some more gold. It is only a 2,000 gold difference between these teams, but I feel like I said this yesterday, Skimmy, in the order game as well. Like, it is 2,000, but it's significantly worse than the 2,000 actually states.
Yeah. The ramifications, obviously, be it the structural difference, the win conditions of the Drake that's been threatened as well. Obviously, after that play, though, Mboma in a much better situation, able to even out the deficit in terms of items. Now both are sitting on 2 completed. So now starting to work towards those luxuries. Kwaku's gone. Bottom lane has
Hayri's
been
also gone.
Disengaged. Alawi picks it up, though. You have to imagine that the tentacles did their job in the afterlife.
The back slap from an angry tentacle, maybe? I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe
we'll get a replay.
Maybe we could just make things up and pretend that it was a very good fight.
We can imagine. We've got eyes in the back of our head, and eyes apparently elsewhere on the map. As Swiper goes for an aggressive engage, flashing over the wall from the jungle and into the lane. Bullet time connecting onto 2 members. Down comes Redemption, and they will not find any of that. Rare picking up a kill.
Yeah, Artek just going down, caught well out of position, even though the ultimate's there. And the reinforcements from Mboma do arrive. It's not going to net them any kills. Top laner and mid laner, Hayri Kwaku trading 1-for-1 does still mean it's going to be an isolated 4v4, and these tanks are far enough ahead that is a pretty big difference maker here. You know, any kind of 4v4, it has to be Mboma going above and beyond to be able to get some trade kills at all. Oh, we get to see it again.
We get to see. Let's see how it went down.
So Hayri's the one looking to engage on this one. The E was held from Kwaku. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, he's just getting slapped.
His soul got slapped.
We were right. It was an angry tentacle from the grave. It's like, there's no way that Kwaku could beat that, but here we are.
Well, the afterlife proves to be very advantageous here for Kwaku. Now sitting on a death stance as well, incredibly tanky. Obviously with the bleed component, that negates a lot of that burst. Going to be a tank shredder if he is able to survive in these team fights. If they can position themselves down, and I suppose that's going to be the narrative right for Mammoth, if they can bunker down, acquire vision, if they can lock themselves in place, Alawi will have that benefit. But the question is, you know, when you're this far behind in the situation, do you get the priority to even make those kind of suggestions?
Yeah, look, and we saw this at the last Drake take. So, like, don't get me wrong, you're right. They have to quarantine themselves for a few minutes, see if they can get some picks here and there. But can they actually stop Order from winning the game and getting the Infernal Soul in 1 minute time when, once again, you've got Lived stuck on these side lanes? And I think right now, the way that the map is set up, they're in a decent position. As long as Kwaku doesn't get caught in any side lanes, they're in a position to fight. There's no side lane control in top that is really pressuring them, which means that they don't have to put someone up there who has teleport, which has only Lived and is very weak, to deal with somebody in that lane. So this is their window of opportunity. If ever there was a time to fight for this Drake, this is the one.
Well, the Vision Orb will reveal, and Order, sitting pretty, will go for the Vision clear. Out goes the box, down comes the damage. Artek pops the Solar Flare, only gets exhausted. They go for the team fight. Redemption topping up Order. They find one, and they're hungry for a second as Harry secures that one. Now sitting on a double kill, looking to jump on in and find himself a triple, but he gets obliterated by none other than the starved quarantine man himself. Liv's pick up a kill, and Bowman now makes it a double for them as well. Here goes Golden, and the members of Mammoth have fighting spirit in their veins. Misfortune with a triple. Rare down to 10%, but gets a shutdown. Quaku's still strong. No summoners. Liv still living, but no Zhonya's. He is flirting with members in lethal tempo. No member wishes to face check. The turret goes down. The vision is placed.
It's just slapped by a Lowy Q.
What on earth is that as a finish to a team fight?
It just gets slapped and dies. They get the ace. Well, you know what, Skimmy? We said that was the one fight that they could take, and they do take it. They end up getting the victory. Artek is once again the person engaged on, but he has a stone plate, so he can live for quite some time. The Aphelios ultimate was used, and everything's looking good for Order until Hayri starts to feel himself, and then he just gets a little bit too close to a couple of crits in the face and instantly dies. And even then, you're like, maybe they could do this. That Alawi still had ultimate, and there's just too many opportunities, and a nice Zonya's from Liv buying a little bit more time. Rare gets very close, it's worth pointing out, to actually being able to clutch the team fight, but from this moment, I don't think we need to watch the rest of it. Yeah.
It was the circus that we were promised to finalize this week. What a interesting narrative to close things out here, with Order really commanding the victory. And what was it again, Rusty? It was a dragon fight.
Yep. That is just the way it is.
Continues.
So once again, the curse is still going to be there. They'll deny the Infernal Soul just a little bit longer, and they'll give themselves a well-deserved Drake. They'll buy some extra time, and they actually do get a lot of money into the pockets of Liv. You know, he was basically irrelevant, now 1, 3, and 4, as these two are going to go at it. Swiper knows the damage of an Alawi, so very confident.
Well, the Bruisers are punching on like a drunken brawl in the bar. They go for the fight. Now they bring in some members to back them up. Swiper's actually going to fall on down now. They're actually in a lot of trouble. The box goes down. The flash has to be used, so Liv cannot jump to him. And what looks so good for Order, so promising at the start, Mammoth responds.
Yeah, they gave Alawi the dream fight there. I shouldn't have said that Swiper was confident. At the end of the day, Alawi is still Alawi, and hits a bunch of slaps, and suddenly he's able to get the team fight. And that started with Quaker already having Conqueror procced. So he spent so long hitting the Maokai that he had all of his damage maximized, and very simple. After he hits the E, gets the will out. Well, I mean, very easy for him to then follow up with some free damage on that ultimate. So nicely done from him. And once again, Mammoth on the back of Quaku this time.
Uh-oh, they are in trouble.
Kills.
Order's bot lane are working their way towards topside. Out comes the teleport. Swiper now respawns. Jarvan going to jump it in. The bullet time not going to hit too much right now. It hits a soul, if anything. Out comes the nado. Out comes the jump up. Only wants to disengage. He doesn't have the ultimate. He's burnt that flash. Yasuo locked in place. He gets shut down again by the side. It's becoming a much more relevant factor as the days go by. And he's going to pick up a shutdown and turn things around. It will finalize with a 1-for-1 trade. Both the star carries of these teams going on down.
Yeah, we're definitely at a point of chaos. We've really started to hit that critical mass of chaos. Once again, Hayri dies, but the trade is there this time, and Quaku goes down. The AD carries are really the ones that need to step up the most here, I think, with the amount of damage going on to these frontliners. It's what happens after. Honestly, it looked so strong. And this is one of those fights where it actually starts with Order definitely out of position. You know, the numbers are here well and truly first from the side of Mammoth. So the fact that it is a 1-for-1 trade at all is a promising thing for Order, because the mistake was made well before this fight starts. A Sejuani that was stolen by Liv is able to lock down Hayri, and then easy as you like, he was gone. But Quaku, a little bit too far forwards, gets locked down by some crowd control, and he also gets traded.
And the real winner, I suppose, this entire time has been Mboma, just sitting pretty in the backside there, getting himself more and more kills added to that arsenal. 4-1-2 now, with a bounty on his head, the only one in this game that now does have it. And he's now got himself some armor penetration completed as well. So he's going to be a real tank shredder as these fights continue. And it becomes a little bit more of a scary proposition now to consider. You know, Baron's been up and available. The next Drake will be up in under 90 seconds. Mammoth definitely showing that this game is well and truly but over.
Yeah, they've got some fight in the system, most definitely holding themselves up to a higher regard with Order here, a team that is locked into the playoffs with Mammoth. Remember, everybody, they are last place in our standings, and they are still going toe-to-toe with their opponents here. regardless of how it started and all of the tempo and advantages that Order had, there is something to be said about Order and being able to throw those leads away just as aggressively as they're able to get them. We're waiting now 45 seconds for that next objective to be up, Skibby. That's probably once again going to be a point of contention. You know that Mammoth have to contest this every single time that it's available, but Order, they'll start it off yet again with mid priority and vision control in the jungle.
Well, let's take a quick stock check of the items going into this next fight right now. 3 completed on Kwaku. Now got the Sterix, so incredibly strong in that regard. We've got Healing Cut in the Bramble Vest, and we've also now got the Executioners on Aphelios. They found their target. The Leap of Faith goes down in a choke spot, only getting collapsed as he's forced to run away. Rare will find that kill. Moonlight Vigil collapses as the Flamethrower spreads the damage around. But because Mammoth cannot set themselves up, they are forced to disengage.
So much damage, man. Going onto that central. I think Kwaku was caught out of position and somehow almost trades. That would have been a jungler that they would have taken down as well, and suddenly the steal attempt was a feasible thing if that happened. Almost making the best out of a bad situation, but not to be. As Order, now they've got the kills, they've got the soul. They'll push over to the Baron side of the map. I think they may want to reset for some vision control before they start the Baron off. But until such a point, definitely in the driver's seat once again.
Don't remember not to reset, will be Rare so far. As we do see, actually, Yasuo are now responding to topside as well to keep these lanes prepped for a Baron attempt. But the Executioners and the Brambles coming in clutch there to prevent Kwaku going for the 1v5 situation. I feel, Rusty, if that had happened, this game completely on a knife's edge.
Yeah, he was very much capable at a certain point there, and you could see how much he heals once that Conquer was fully procced, but you could see the difference, even in that last skirmish, of when it is versus when it isn't, and how he's able to really influence those fights. Still close to kills, but not montage making by any means, is now Order. I would say even Swiper becomes a bigger threat. The damage output of a Sunfire Cape Maokai that has an Infernal Soul, suddenly tanks are much more dangerous all over again. And it's a hard life to be Mboma, and he has a big responsibility to shoulder in a game like this.
Yep, he's nearing full items right now. 5 members of Mammoth with vision wards in their inventory. They realize that they need to lock this place down. They realize that Order want to take down this structure, get deeper vision down, control the entrances in towards this Baron. That's where the fight needs to take place right now, because we are well away from a Elder in 4 minutes. A last chance for Mammoth to execute, a last chance for this man, Kwaku, to slam down the tennies.
Yeah, no, Kwaku doing actually a lot of good things here. If he stays grouped and is able to hit some repeat E's on his opponents, then maybe they have a threat. That was a potential engage here from Mammoth. They want it.
Solar Flare does not connect, but only lands this time. Out comes the bullet time, which does a lot of damage. Out goes the Golden Zhonya's as well to respond in that fashion. Harry using that stopwatch to great effect. Kwaku going for the 1v1 as the Brawlers battle out once again. Harry disengaging to the right. Arctic so damn low. Liv forced to disengage away. So many members of Mammoth are bleeding so far. They dodge through the pinball wheel. The army-style training of juking and driving everything that is thrown at them. These tentacles proving so mischievous in these team fights, but Order survive. And without a jungler, without Bass, they turn their attention now towards this Baron.
And there's a clear difference here. You know, Swiper doesn't even lose any health in that fight. Pushes away as much as he can in Boma's damage output. They don't really get anything done from it. One cheeky kill there from a nice double-up bounce onto Ayla, but that's all you can really see as Baron does go Order's way. You look at the engage once again. It starts after Kwaku misses his E, so actually misses the free ultimate damage. Tries to get into the fight and put some damage down himself, but doesn't have the flash to get inside that Jarvan ultimate into the Thunderdome, and just not going to have the impact that he otherwise would have liked, and instead just has to defend Mboma, or the rest of his team will pretty handily lose that trade, honestly, as Rare has hit that 3-item point, now at 4, where he's almost unstoppable.
Got the Mortar Reminder, so plenty of damage. The Grievous Wounds. Insane. Very insane at that, Met. So we look forward to seeing now how he can do, because look at his economy. 15k and 16k between these 2 star players, and Mboma and Kwaku leading their charge as well. But hats off really to Lived, the fact that he's been able to get himself back into this game. A few of those kills have been given his way, but he stayed relevant with those Zhonya's, and he's stayed a factor in this game.
As best he can, that much is for certain. He's doing his best to stay in this game. I mean, just take a second. Look at the CS difference between mid laners. Really let that sink in. It's going to be hard to be lived in this game with the way that Order put him behind. So all it takes is one good fight from Hayri, and that's the difference maker between this game being somewhat close and just instantly over. As right now, they are pressuring turrets still.
Bullet time was used, but the strength of these tanks is enough to ensure that they can just walk their way through it. And they take down another outer. Eyes set now on prepping these waves to work towards those inhibitors. Top lane is pushing as well. They are going to go for what appears to be a 3-2 split to start with. Only freely rotating between lanes.
Still no flash there for Kwaku on Alawi. Baz does have his, but if you actually do a spell check for the entire game right now, there's no flashes from the side of Order. So if they run towards Kwaku, which is one of those things that you kind of have to do if you want to break the base, there's a world where he gets a big ultimate off and can actually help his team in team fighting pretty nicely. I would say that a lot of his split pushing threat, his side lane threat is gone. And so does need to now be that big threat standing in front of his team, hitting those E's.
37 minutes into this one, an Order now with the Baron buff threatening to end this game. Knocking at the door of Mammoth, looking to take down some inhibitors, get some super minions in there, and close things out. We are nearing full items. And Boma and Rare very nearly at that fate of the game.
Who'd have seen this coming, Skivvy? Who would have predicted this?
Well, only says freeze, and he gets locked in place. Apparently, Sun counters Ice. Who would have known that from playing Pokemon as a kid? But regardless, the team fight will take place anyway. First turret drops in mid lane. The aggression is there, which matches the fact that they can now walk their way into taking this inhibitor down, which is very close. Rare, he wants to do it. It needs literally one tickle.
Yeah, they pushed away though. To fight another day, Mammoth will try, but they are running out of mana on their top laner. And the redemption keeps everyone mostly topped up here on Order's side. If they wanted to continue to push forwards, it is something they could look at doing, but the reset was there from a few members of Mammoth. They did actually get back to the base. So it seems like they will be able to push away their opponents. But the thing is, as you can see, Rare is kind of smacking that Elder.
Yeah, and Mammoth have just realized, hang on a minute, this is a 5v4 situation. Let's engage. They jump into Oni. They're looking to try and find that key target to go for the Cataclysm. He just takes down the Elder on his own. He does not care. And Mammoth have missed their window to execute on, because that's what an Elder Dragon does. It by surely executes members down. A double kill picked up for Harry. Now Rare's on the board, not on a PvE sense, but a PvP 1-2. It's a triple, and he is looking for the quadra. Not a pentakill again. They've been denied all split long. And Boma, with all the resources in the world, the sole survivor. He can't take the blue buff, and I don't see a world in which he can survive against 5 hungry members of Order. Rare jumps in, because he wants the ace.
Yeah, too easy there from Order in the end. Nice little Elder Dragon take from them. They're able to get the Nexus. They will be able to take down Mammoth. It wasn't the cleanest start to finish game, Skimmy, but in the end, the result's all that matters. They've got the W next to their name. After they dive, Artek.
Order take the victory in 40 minutes up against Mammoth in our second game of the day, I should say. It was a game that looked very strong during the early stages of it. A few blips in the roadmap in the mid game, but they closed it out with a Soul, Baron, and an Elder, and they take victory here in the Rift.
Yeah, a couple of little insulting moments there for people like Swiper on Order's side. I mean, get smacked around by an Alawi here and there. That's not something that he'll be too happy about. But at the end of the day, Order still did look like the better team. There was still a couple of positives that Mammoth should 100% be running away from a game like this with. And Boma's nuts. He's actually a very good ADC right now, and seems like he was hitting pretty good form even at the end of this split, you know, considering that they're a last place team. That wasn't the type of game that looked like a last place versus fourth place type of performance. It was a lot closer than that.
Absolutely was. And we will have more games up in your screen just after the break. Don't go anywhere. Game number 3 coming up after this.